I can't do it. I just can't do it. I am about 10 hours into this game, and I'm going to give up. I like what I see out of Mr. President. I want to play this game, and it seems like there's a great game in there. But I'm 10 hours into this game.
Give him another 10 hours.
You know, I think somebody wrote up on BGG it was like 6 to 10 hours. And I'm halfway through maybe like the equivalent of like August or something in the first year. Because there's a ton of chits. Some of that is trying to, you know, learn the game. So there's some of that. But, you know, when I play just a normal board game, you know, that's like an hour long and it takes me a while to figure out how to play, you know, maybe instead of an hour, it's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But if we're talking 6 to 10 hours right now, and I'm already 10 hours into this, and I'm not even done with the first year, like I'm not even done with the third quarter of what I've got to do, it just makes it really hard to press on.
My first 100 days as president have been difficult.
And it just feels more like work.
You know, work.
Than it is in game. And so I think that, you know, sometimes I'm willing to try to push through just so I can see what the end experience is. But I think in this case, I'm just going to have to take a step back from it. And maybe this is a game that I can pick up and play like on Tabletop Simulator. Try it out that way, because then I can save it and walk away. And I'm not taking up an entire table space, because this thing is a table hog. And boy, does it take up a lot of room. I like what I see out of it. I think there's some pretty cool elements to it, but I do have to say it leans more towards a simulation than it does really just a game. So there's so many levers, there's so many pulls, you know, and I imagine that as a president, you probably have an overwhelming amount of choices and priorities and things you have to worry about.
There's just so many options.
What I may try to do at some point is play with a friend, you know, and kind of be like president, vice president or something, I don't know. And maybe that'll help kind of keep things flowing. But it just felt like it never picked up for me.
What are the rules?
There's like 8 or 9 rule books. Well, I guess some of them are reference tables. So you know what to do with Russia, with domestic issues, with wars. You have a 48-page rule book. And on the back it has this great index. Great in concept. But the challenge is that if you go to look up certain things, they're not in the right place. In fact, there's one item that says it's on page 54. The rule book is only 48 pages. Unbelievable. There are great reference tables, so you can see, like, if you roll a die for a certain chart, that you can see, you know, what the results are going to be, and you just go down the chart and figure out the result, and then you apply the result. The challenge is that your modifiers to the dice are at the end. So if you try to logically go through it, you're going to go, okay, what is it I'm doing? Here's what I'm rolling for. And here's what the table is. And then, oh, by the way, here are the modifiers. In some places in the rules, it gives you the modifiers first, and then it walks you through, which I think is a much better flow, because then you're trying to figure out what you're rolling for and how much that's going to change in the dice. It does have a great walkthrough on the turn sequence. The turn sequence will tell you, so once you hit this spot, now go to this book. Or once you go to this spot, now you go to these quick reference cards. Once you go to this one, then you do this. As a guy who enjoys processes, that has a technical writing background, there's some really neat ways in which they all kind of nest within each other. But if you don't have some of the quality checks to make sure that those things, you know, are connecting right, then it ends up creating challenges for the end user to try to navigate that. So out of curiosity, with you, those of you that are watching this video, you got to this point, you're not throwing tomatoes and fruit, other kind of bad fruit at me.
It was a run by fruiting.
If you've enjoyed it, what is it that helped you kind of get over that hump? What is it that that helped you get around some of those things? Or maybe those things just didn't really bother you and you just kind of picked it up and was able to run with it. So let me know in the comments below what you thought. Like I said, I like what I see out of it. It was really interesting to kind of see the board and how it unfolds. But I think some extra help with the rule books Maybe some extra pictures and stuff for setup would be great. But that's it. That's it. I give up on it. I'm going to have to pack this thing up and call it a day so that I can get on to playing some other games in my collection. And with that said, my name is JT, and you've been watching G Club.